I think it's important just to remember a little bit of history.
But I have to admit to a certain bias here. To get back to my book for a minute, in my book there's a lot of genealogical research, you know, going back, Dick's family, my family, these heroic and amazing tales of people who went west. But one of the things I discovered is that Dick and Barack Obama are 8th cousins. What? Is that an amazing thing? Yes, if you go back 8 generations, really? They have a common ancestor.
So you're for Barack Obama?
No, but I thought I should admit this fact as evidence that maybe I'm not completely objective about Mrs. Clinton. But think about this. This is such an amazing American story that one ancestor, a man who came to Maryland named Maureen DeVal, could be responsible down the family lines for lives that have taken such different and varied paths as Dick's and Barack Obama's.
Now that we know Vice President Dick Cheney and Senator Barack Obama are distant cousins, the New York Post decided to check into the genealogy of President Bush, and his family tree has people talking. Early Show national correspondent Tracy Smith has the story of George W. Bush's many relations.
My honor to bring to you the 41st president, a great dad, George H.W. Bush.
We all know his father, but what about his cousins? Check out this family tree, done with research by Ancestry.com.
What would you say if I told you he's related to all of those people?
That you're wrong.
Oh, no, I'm not. Let me take you through this, branch by branch.
The 101st Airborne Division, Air Assault.
Vice President Dick Cheney, the man who's only a heartbeat away from the presidency, is actually a blood relation. He's President Bush's 9th cousin once removed. Cheney's cousin Barack Obama is also Bush's 11th cousin and the 9th cousin of Brad Pitt. But we're only just getting started. President Lincoln was President Bush's 7th cousin 5 times removed, and Bush shared more than just a ballot with John Kerry. That's right, they're 9th cousins twice removed.
Really? What do you think of that?
Yeah, they have the same chin.
There's also royalty in the Bush bloodline. Princess Diana was Bush's 11th cousin twice removed. And then there's this bombshell.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Sure, she may have been singing to JFK, but what about GWB? He is, after all, her 9th cousin 3 times removed.
Maybe it's the eyebrows. I think
They have the same eyebrows?
He's also related to Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, even Pocahontas, and Vlad the Impaler. Trace the family tree far enough, and you get Madonna, Celine Dion, and Tom Hanks.
Many of the United States presidents have blood relations with each other. The Bush lineage has blood ties to a great number of former presidents. George Washington, Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses Grant, Rutherford Hayes, James Garfield, Grover Cleveland, Teddy Roosevelt, William Taft, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin Roosevelt, Richard Nixon, and Gerald Ford. Michael Tessarion points out in his work that Bush is closely related to every European monarch on and off the throne, and has kinship with every member of Britain's royal family. Bush's family tree can be documented as far back as the early 15th century. He has a direct descent from Henry III and from Henry VIII's sister Mary Tudor. He is also descended from Charles II of England. And we also find that George W. Bush is a direct descendant of Godfrey the Bullion. Godfrey was the first king of Jerusalem after he recaptured it from the Saracens, which was the name for the Islamic faith during the Middle Ages. It is interesting to note that the current occupation of the United States in the Middle East was re-established by the same family, George Bush Sr. in 1991, and again by George Bush Jr. in 2003. George Bush Jr. is then found to be a cousin to both opposing candidates of his 2 terms in office, Al Gore and John Kerry. Democratic President Barack Obama also has blood ties with George W. Bush, as well as Gerald Ford, Lyndon Johnson, Harry Truman, James Madison, and the British Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill. On the opposing side of the 2008 presidential ballot, John McCain is descended from Robert the Bruce, King William I of Scotland, and also Godfrey the Bullion.
These bloodlines are literally able to be traced by genealogists all the way back to ancient Sumer and Babylonia.
Incest was practiced by ancient Egyptian royalty. Mothers married sons and brothers married sisters to keep the power and the money all in the family. Like their pharaonic ancestors, the British monarchy have a long history of incestuous inbreeding.
People scream and yell and fuss and fight, thinking that their vote counts, believing that the harder they scream for their candidate, the more likely it will be that their candidate will win. But it is all an illusion. Their vote does not count. The match was rigged from the beginning. Your cheering means nothing. Your screaming means nothing. It has no bearing on the outcome. The match was decided and rehearsed long before any of the candidates were placed on the stage. It is all entertainment. And in the end, it is the American public who will suffer. And yet, the two candidates will make promises that these issues and many more will be corrected if they are elected. They promise that they will lower taxes. They promise that they will protect the environment. They promise that they will create more jobs and secure Social Security. Haven't you noticed that they promise the same things every 4 years? And yet, nothing ever gets better. Things only get worse. Why? Because this is by design. The script has already been written, and your own welfare was written in the script as something to be ignored. In fact, your own welfare, the welfare of your family, the welfare of your great-grandchildren, the welfare of the United States of America is looked upon by the orchestrators of the presidential elections as irrelevant and subjugated to the realm of casualty. Your vote does not count. Dispel the voting myth now. Stop defending what you have been manipulated to believe. Your vote is irrelevant. Barack Obama does not care about you or about your children. He doesn't even know you. The same thing can be said about John McCain. You are irrelevant to the both of them and to the masters to which they serve. So cheer all you want. Fuss with each other. Stay divided. For when the North American Union is solidified, when the Amero is forced upon you, when the New World Order is finally accepted by the microchipped masses, remember that it was because of your own ignorance that such things were allowed to take place. Bow down to the engineered financial crisis, a crisis that was orchestrated, like 9/11, to take more and more of your freedoms away and to place more and more power into the hands of the government that literally controls your mind.